Alright. So, I think this is better. Oh, my internet's gonna be shit, though. Every time you start up a stream, bro. Torches. Alright. Boom. We back. We back. I'm definitely not gonna do the crazy voices, although you will probably hear it. The way I read it, well, you might hear it. Maybe I'll talk about it after, because I gotta see if you hear it. Let's just say that, like, you know, like I said, Grail is, like, based on my anger. I mean, you guys don't really see that side of me, though. That's what's crazy. It's, like, such an important part of who I am, but, like, you guys aren't really gonna see it, because every time you guys are here, you guys make me not angry. Like, the fact that people are here to just see, like, you know, I had a friend of mine, like, I used to stream some, and I remember her, she's, like, very honest with me, and she told me, like, she was like, man, I really think you'd be such a fun streamer to watch if you just weren't so angry all the time. And we laughed about that, because it's like, what am I supposed to do about that shit? I'm just angry. Like, what do you want me to do? I'm just mad all the time. But what it is, like, I don't know, like, having people that actually support you and give a fuck makes you not angry as much, which is, like, mostly a good thing. There's a small part of me that's just, like, weird. It's weird, though, too. There's, like, a tiny bit of me where it's, like, it's not the best thing. Because, like, I don't know if this makes sense, but, like, the past few days I've been feeling a weird feeling, which is, like, I haven't felt enough anger. That's almost how I feel. And that sounds weird, because I probably shouldn't want to feel it, but I don't know. It's, like, literally who I am. So I don't want to, like, not feel it. But I also don't want to be angry around other people. Like, that's one thing I've been really good at in life, is not being angry around, like, people I didn't mean to be. I'm very, very specific, so it's because that part doesn't want you to get hurt by anyone. I don't know if it's that. I mean, I don't know what you mean. I don't know if it's that. I think it's just, I mean, I see what you're saying. I don't. Oh shit, that was probably loud. My bad. Yeah, I don't know if that was loud, but I'm fixing it now. My mic kind of dropped a bit and hit some shit. Or, well, didn't hit some shit, but anyways. I don't know if it's that. It's just, like, it's genuinely, like, a part of me that I like, and I don't want it to go anywhere, especially because also, I don't know, it's a unique feeling, I guess. I know that sounds weird, because I know a lot of people are angry, but I guess I just have this feel, like, I've always had this feeling that, like, people are angry, yeah, but people don't feel what I feel. That's how I always felt about it, and I still feel that way about it. That's, like, part of why I write this Grail stuff. Alright. It says I only have 2 people in here, but I feel like there was more than just you two. Maybe there wasn't. Was it just you two? Am I waiting for somebody, or is it this? It said 4 people. I'm assuming 1 was me, then you two. Maybe we lost somebody. I don't know. I thought there was somebody else in here, but I'm not sure. It's kind of why I'm rambling, because I was waiting. Hero was here? Yeah, he's here. Only 3 of us, I think. Like, 3 of us meaning me? Oh, Funny's here. Oh, I see. My bad. I saw just 2 names. I see. Everyone's here. Okay, for some reason it only tells me 2 people are watching, but you guys are all here. Alright, 1 second. Yeah, the count's definitely off. Oh, now it says 3. I don't know. I'm not sure what YouTube's doing. Okay, I don't know if I'm trying to think. I feel like there's a few things that I want to mention before I read this, but I'm trying to remember what they are. Because I haven't read this to someone in a long time. This is 4 years old. So probably the last time I read it was like a year ago at least. So much for only streaming for another hour. Well, I didn't want to play the game too long, so I only played the game for about another hour. But yeah, it's hard for me to get off because I like talking to people, especially if I get to talk about my writing. I mean, that's like the thing that matters the most for me. So, what did I have to mention here? Oh, I don't like this. I already see something I need to edit. I don't like that. What word should I use instead? No, I can't edit it because I'm not on this profile. Fuck. That sounds weird. I don't like that. Sounds too forced. Alright. I'm gonna be critical of this because this shit's old. Well, I have edited it since 4 years ago, so it's actually not completely 4 years old. Also, just a quick other thing. So one of the things I want to mention for sure is, you know how I told you guys that she has like a London-based accent and she speaks with like London slang? So I wrote this 4 years ago, and 4 years ago, she was not involved in a gang at all. Like, literally, there was nothing about the gang. That wasn't a thing. She did not speak with a London accent. None of that shit, right? So about a year ago, I actually went back to this intro piece and I edited her lines to make them sound a bit more London-based. But that being said, she definitely speaks with a heavier accent in like the upcoming shit. Like, this is definitely like, the accent isn't crazy heavy here. The slang is in here, but like, for instance, like basically a good example would be, she says a lot, like she says I here a lot, or I think she does. Yeah, she uses the word I a lot, or like a decent amount, right? Whereas in the actual book and the actual story, she doesn't say I. She says like man. She's like I don't know. I'm trying to think of like so for instance, like I'm looking at a random line, right? She says I am so much more, like that's the start of a line. Whereas now she would say like man's so much more, like man is so much more, man's so much more, like talking about herself, right? There's no bottle of water. There is a bottle of water for me. It's right here. What do you mean? What about it? Can you hear it? Right here. What about the bottle of water? Or are you talking about? Oh, you're talking about like saying it like that. She doesn't say it like that. It's mainly like her saying man, like referring to herself. Also saying like, yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah, it's not like that. It's more like, she also uses like lots of slang. So you guys might not like get the certain terms. There's not a lot in this. I'm just gonna fucking read it. There's not a lot in this one. But in the actual like story, like I said, this is because I wrote this 4 years ago and she didn't actually speak with that accent. So I came back here and I like dabbled some in here for old time's sake. And then the only other thing to mention is that this intro piece, it technically takes place, like, it doesn't actually exist in the book, but technically speaking, the like, what's that called? The roadmap. I know that's the only thing I can think of. I don't know what word I'm looking for. The path, the roadmap. I don't know. The place this fits into the story is technically after she meets Nellie, which is after the beginning of the book. So this takes place like a little later on in her life. So some things have fucking happened. And like I said, when I wrote this, she wasn't involved in the gang, so she kind of doesn't really mention a gang, even though she probably would have. So you guys know what I mean. So there's a bit of like take it with a grain of salt. That's basically what I'm saying. Take this shit with a grain of salt. This isn't her like full story, but it's just like a good intro to her character, which is exactly what it's designed to be. Like where the plot starts, kind of. This takes place like, no, I can't think of the fucking word, bro. I can't think of the word. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. All right. I'm gonna be fucking nervous reading this. So, anyways, this shit is called. So this is like the introduction to Grail, and I titled this "The Cruel Birth of Brutality." And it goes like this. With no one left in her life for the time being, and the only thing of comfort now far from reach, all feeling fled as the cold wind swept. The snow had mostly melted around her, and the bare trees offered no cover from the outside world. Even though she sat alone, the last thing she felt was privacy. For the first time ever, Grail was about to convince herself to try something new. She thought about how Nellie was always so happy and wondered how it was even possible. Life isn't about happiness, not Grail's way of life. But despite all that, she still had enough strength to lift her ego aside and pick up the small book that Nellie had given her. Maybe writing is what kept Nellie so happy. After all, Grail always heard how happy she was when she wrote about that man from her dreams. But Nellie told her that she should only write down things she truly feels, something about herself. She told her to try and write down her feelings, what was left of them anyways. So with that, she lifted the pen with confidence, although her shaking hand might have made you think otherwise. But still, she began to write. Nellie once told me that we're all here for a reason, and that everyone has their place in this world. But despite how she feels, not all of us are destined for greatness. Most of you are nothing more than a small piece of a much larger story. We all like to think that we're the centerpiece, but chances are you're only fueling something much bigger than yourself without even realizing it. Some of us are just here to die. Your very death could be the catalyst for a famed warrior's rise to dominance. Maybe that's your purpose in life, just to fall in battle years in the making. But me? I'm so much more than just a piece of some fucking story. We're not the same, so let's not pretend we are. You're nothing like me. Most people complain, but I know the violence I was taught with was the greatest thing to ever happen to me. In these streets, men are getting yinged up every night. That's the violence and hatred that shed the weak and worthless side of me. So she no longer lives, but Grail, she's here to stay. She continued to write. This hate I feel is truly a gift. It's the only thing that never left, the only thing that will not abandon me. It's the greatest thing I've ever felt. This feeling's given me everything I always wanted and made me into exactly what I always wanted to be, but no one understands. You'll never understand, because where I come from, you're either the greatest or you're nothing. And at the early stages of my life, I was nothing. Viewed myself less than a woman, less than a person at a point, but less than a person at a point in my life, but I refused to be nothing, so I found a way. She paused for a moment. Grail found a way. Now I stand with none my equal. You know this to be true. Grail reinforced each word as she transferred them from her head onto the page. For a brief moment, she stopped writing just long enough to gaze down into the calm lake she sat above, only to see her reflection looking back at her, judging her as it rippled in the water. Her anger almost caused her to drop the page in the water at the sight of her writing. What the fuck are you doing? Her words rang out loud and confident while she refused to blink. Her mind snapped to thoughts of her truest relationship, the jagged knife known by many on the streets of Vela, but to Grail it was known as the Long Blade. Are you weak now? She mocked while looking deeply at her reflection. Even though Grail knew she was anything but weak, it pained her to see her trying to write down her feelings. That was something she always mocked Nellie for doing, and honestly, there's no word that makes her more angry than that one. She spent her whole life cleansing herself of weakness. Hatred slowly took over her mind like a toxin. Her body looked up as she felt the monster inside looming. It wanted to reach for steel. It had an unquenchable yearning for blood as her thoughts continued to plunge, and then visions of that blade plunging deeper. I'm not weak. Next time I'll show you. Next time I'll make you swim, she said aloud at her reflection as if it were listening, her eyes staring it down as if to insert dominance, but neither of them giving way. Somehow, even in the water, the color of her eyes stood out. Those soul-piercing golden yellow eyes were one of the most noticeable things about her after all, that and her height. Grail had never met another woman anywhere near as tall as her, and she liked it that way. Standing at around 195 meters tall, she towered above all other females and most men she had seen. She really didn't look like the type to be riding, and she wasn't. Grail was a warrior, one with many scars that covered her arms, and the most noticeable ones being the one that cut slightly up into her hairline from her forehead, and the jagged line that parted the center of her lower lip and curved out the top. Other than some loose strands that dangled in her hair, in her face, down to her sharp jawline, most of her black hair was tied up into a messy bun to keep out of her way. Although she was strong, tough, and larger than the average person, she was still slim for her size, possibly caused by the lack of food she was able to obtain early on while living in the streets of South Vela. After the moment passed, she snapped back to the page and forced herself to finally lift it back. With the advice that Nellie had given her stuck in her head from last night, she continued to finish her writing. Or she convinced herself to finish her writing. That was the only reason she was writing in the first place, anyways, but she couldn't let Nellie know that, because if she did, she knows she would never hear the end of it. So she began again. Once, quite some time ago when I was only 5 years old, I recall the only memory I have of my family. I vaguely recall my older sister holding me, smiling with what seemed to be pure fuck. I'm gonna read that over again. Once, quite some time ago, when I was only 5 years old, I recall the only memory I have of my family. I vaguely recall my older sister holding me, smiling with what seemed like pure happiness, which I'll never feel, never understand. I was never given a name, so she came up with one there. She said it with that bright and illuminating smile, which now makes me sick. Grail thought about the name her sister gave her for a moment. What a lovely name, huh? She mocked her sister in her head. But none of that means anything to me. Not now. You'll do as I say. You'll speak my true name and you'll speak it with some fucking respect. Not some pointless name that I was given. And not only was it given, but given by my sister, a weak and pathetic person who left me to die, just like our mother and father did to us. She felt the anger rising in her chest. If she yet lives, she best beg every god humanity created that she does not come face to face with me. But if we were to cross paths, she would no longer need to beg them, only beg me to spare the waste that's her life, because with me, I'll bring judgment. Grail took a deep pause, exhaling hatred from each frozen breath. But it doesn't matter, though. I don't even know her name, and I don't care to at this point. The end result's only going to lead to more darkness and tragedy. For her, that is. I just wonder where she was when I wandered those streets alone, when I was chefed by someone I previously trusted and beaten until I could barely breathe, when I had to fight just to fucking eat. Who was there? Who was with me when I splashed that man down to protect myself? And he was a well-known striker. I still carry that knife. My long blade has pierced many. I'll always remember when it was smeared with blood after I did him proper, and I didn't just dip him once. I blacked out after the 8th or ninth time, but by the time I was done, it was more than just a few. Do you know how that felt? When I ching him down and he lay helpless? She paused, now riding off pure instinct. For the first time in my life, I felt respect. He stared into my eyes with fear as life fled, and for once I was respected. Blood may have covered my hands, but I was the last person at fault, because he was only a small piece of a bigger story, my story, and he showed me that on the streets I don't need to ask for your respect, that I can demand it. This hatred's a part of me, for good or for bad. It's who I truly am. I've fought for every single fucking thing in life, and nothing was handed to me. Everyone left, yet here I am. So take a long look at who I've become. I'm not weak like the rest of you. I earned my place here. Did you? She finished the line in frustration. You may not know my name now, but I assure you that'll change very soon. My name will leave a trail of blood on this earth that can't be washed away in time, and my legend will last for eternity. Nellie's shown me. It's fated so. You'll all remember me as a warrior who was able to do what others were too weak to accomplish. You'll remember a champion of unmatched skill, bested by none. She paused again. Well, who knows? Maybe you'll just remember a killer, one soaked in the warm blood of anyone who crossed her or got too close. But either way, one thing's certain. You will remember me, by one name and one name only. A name that means far more than yours ever will. And a name that was earned, not given. Well, shit, there it is. I wrote that a long time ago. I mean, I edited it. I've edited it a couple times after. It's not super long. It's like a nice little short piece, but it's fucking cool though. This was probably the first piece that I ever wrote where I'm like, I could do this shit. I actually really like that piece. That was like, it's hard to like love something you make, but what I love about it is like you could feel the anger, I feel like. And what I was gonna say before I read it, but I was like, I gotta wait till I read it and see what it sounds like to me before I say it. It's like you can tell the second half of it, but you could probably tell. I think I did a pretty good job of reading the first half, actually, better than I usually do. But you can tell typically that the second half, like, you can hear it in my voice. Like, I don't know how to explain it. The second half is more personal to me. Like, a lot of that is like a rant that I actually wrote, and I just made it into something Grail was talking about. Like, there were a few lines. Well, it's not every part. It's not like the whole thing, but there was like a lot of the second half where it's like shit that I actually wrote, not Grail, and then it just like made sense to make it her thing. Like for instance, like this part. This is like literally taken from one of my rants, but this part where she's like this hate is a part of me, for good or for bad. It's who I truly am. I fought for every single fucking thing in life, and nothing was handed to me. Everyone left, yet here I am. So take a long look at who I've become, because I'm not weak like the rest of you. I earned my place here. Did you? Like that line, that is like literally something I wrote. That's not about Grail. That's about me. But like, so you can kind of hear it in my voice a bit, where it's like, I don't know. I feel that shit, you know? But I really like this. It's really interesting. I also really like the whole idea of her, like, I mean, she defended herself against this one guy. That's what happened. I don't know if she mentioned that. I mean, she didn't really mention here that did she mention she defended herself? I guess she mentioned, like, oh yeah, she said, like, who was with me when I splashed that man down to protect myself? And then she's like talking about how she stabbed him up a bunch. And then she mentions like, but this part where she's like saying like, do you know how that felt? For the first time in my life, I was respected. That shit goes crazy because it's kind of true. It's like that was literally like the first time she felt respect is when she's like actually ending somebody's life because like they had to respect her. And then like that whole thing about like on the street, you don't have to ask for respect. Like I can demand your respect because I can take everything you're worth if you don't give me your respect. That shit's crazy. You love the beginning because the imagery of the place she was in. I feel like the imagery is like the thing I struggle with the most. I'm very good at doing characters and like their thoughts and stuff, but the imagery is tough for me. But I like the imagery of this one. So I feel like even though there wasn't much imagery, I feel like yeah, the beginning imagery it kind of matches her tone, and I really like that. But yeah, there's not too much. I have a couple critiques of this. Like one of them is that, well, the biggest critique I have of this is just that I don't think Grail would write. Which I mean, I kind of tackled that a bit in here, where she's talking about how she makes fun of Nelly for writing, and she's trying to do something new, which I think that's believable. I still don't know if Grail would write though. But the reason I had her write was because it was an easy way of like getting her thoughts out. You know what I mean? In not a weird way. Because I don't think she'd share this with like Nelly. I don't think she'd rant about this with her. So I couldn't really do it like that. I had to like do it at like how would she talk about this shit or why? So I feel like writing was probably the best thing because Grail's kind of quiet. She doesn't really talk. Well, not quiet, but she doesn't really talk about this shit. Um, I like that. I also like these like little moments. They mean a lot to me. Where it's like, I mean, all of this I could really break down like this entire thing because it's all like really important. It's not none of it's really like accidentally here, but I really like these moments where at the beginning she's uh, like this line of like in these streets men are getting yinged up every night, and that's the violence and hatred that shed the weak and worthless side of me. She no longer lives, but Grail's here to stay. Where she's saying her own name, right? She's like speaking about her in the third person, and then there's another part where she says like, can't remember. She says something like I something something something, and then she pauses and she's like, no, Grail, and like reinforces her name. It's like all about her name, right? It's like her name carries so much worth to her. It's like, no, not I, Grail. Like you know my name, and you'll use my name like that. I can't find the part. I don't know where the part's at, but you know what I'm talking about. Like that shit. I think that's really cool. Like it shows how much her name matters. Yeah, this like so I found a way, and then she pauses. Grail found a way. It's like she's rewriting it basically. To me, it seems like she's having an impact on Grail. She definitely does. It's lovable. It is. It's very good. Um, yeah, I mean that's not a bad take on it. I mean that's definitely a thing that kind of happens a little bit at least. But yeah, I mean Grail or Nelly's like the first person in Grail's life that ever showed her any love at all. So to be honest, it's just weird. Like Grail doesn't get it. To be honest, like she doesn't understand. Like for the first part of their friendship, like she doesn't accept anything or anything like that because she thinks she's like, well, I don't want to give you shit. That's what she always tells her. Like Nelly will get her things like, oh, like I know you like this wine. I got some for you on my way back from this place, and like Grail will like just look at it and be like, I don't want that. And Nelly's like, why not? Like you said you liked it. And it's like, well, I don't want that because I don't want to get you anything. And Nelly's like, no, you don't have to give me anything. That's not the point. But she doesn't get it. It's like everything in her life's been like, it's not. There's no one that does shit for kindness. And also, it's like, okay, well, what's the other motive then? Like, why are you giving me this? Like, what do you want in return? Because I don't want to give you anything in return. That's kind of like Grail's way of seeing things. It's pretty great. I like it quite a lot. Yeah, this is a cool piece. I wrote one for Nelly too. I wrote an introduction for Nelly as well. I feel like that one's. I mean, I can read that one. I guess I could read that. Different. It's completely different. Grail doesn't know how to react to compassion and someone wanting to be there for her. She views it as there has to be an ulterior motive. Yeah, yeah, pretty much. Makes sense because I mean, yeah, it feels like everyone left her, and also well, even with the gang stuff, it's like the gang is so interesting. I actually find the gang so interesting that she's involved with because like when she first finds the gang, it's kind of like she's like happy about it actually. She's like I finally found my people kind of thing. It's like they're like me. But then she's like she becomes like me and like you know how like I always talk about like no one's as competitive as me? It's like everyone says they are, but no one's actually out here being like me. Like no one goes out of their way to be competitively and take like competitive to keep competitive integrity. Like it doesn't feel like so it's like how competitive are you? Because I'm going out of my way to try to do this shit. Going out of my way. Like I don't want to win if you're fucking cheating. I don't want to be involved with you. I don't want to even have your name on my stream if you're cheating. I don't want to be anywhere near you. Like that kind of shit. Like Grail kind of has that with this gang where she's like, oh, you guys are like me. Awesome. Everyone says they're like me here. They all like this shit too. They're all about this life too. But then like the more she gets into it, the more she's like, why are you talking about it, not doing it? I'm out here doing this shit. You're just talking about it. And you're saying you're like me, but you're not. It's really shitty. So she ends up like actually kind of like she ends up having problems with her own gang. Cause she doesn't like them even at a certain point. While you were reading, for some reason I kept thinking that Grail was like a gladiator. I mean, yeah, she kind of seems like that a bit. She refers to herself as a warrior there. I don't know if I would refer to her as a warrior in the book, though, yet. I think she kind of becomes a bit more of that. But definitely in the book, like, I don't know how she would even refer to herself anymore. I mean, yeah, you gotta take that intro with a grain of salt. Like, so it's technically correct. Like, everything she said is still pretty much correct in terms of the grand scheme of things. But all the wording she uses, she doesn't really speak like that anymore. Like, the only lines that she speaks like that is like, you know how she was saying, like, oh, like, men are getting yinged up every night. Like, that's a word she uses. Like, that's one of the ones I inserted. It's like, yinged up. That's like, I mean, stabbed up. Or like she said, like, when I got chefed, that's like getting stabbed up as well. She also said, like, I'll make you swim. That's like a reference. I don't know if you guys got that. I don't know if I read it correctly to give you that vibe of, like, she's talking about, like, in your own blood. That's what she meant. So whenever she's looking at her reflection and she's, like, really mad, she's, like, basically saying, you know, like, I'm not weak, and next time I'll show you, like, next time I'll make you swim over that shit, like, claiming that I'm weak. But she's talking to herself, and she's, like, threatening herself. Like, essentially threatening to, I don't know, fuck herself up pretty badly. To the point where she's bleeding a lot, obviously. That's essentially what she's saying. But also, it kind of has a little bit of a double meaning. She's, like, looking into the water. But obviously, she's not talking about the water. That's another thing she says. Like, that's, like, kind of a bit of the slang a bit. It's like, oh, I made him swim. That's, like, that means some pretty bad things. Or the other thing she said was, like, when I did him proper. Like, did him proper means I fucked him up really bad. Like, referring to the guy she killed. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what else I can read. Let's see. Man, I got the Nelly piece. The Nelly one's like it's so different, bro. It's literally the complete opposite vibe. I don't have a Nelly voice. I mean, well, I don't really have a Grail voice either, but at least like my anger like lends to Grail's tone, you know, a little bit, like aggressive. Can't wait for the movie to come out for this book, dude. That would be insane. There's actually, you know who looks like Grail a little bit? Well, she's not like big like her, but I don't think any girl is like big like her. The girl that like looks like Grail in movies is the girl that played Rey in Star Wars. She kind of looks like her face and her hair. If her hair was black and it was tied up differently, her face looks like Grail. Like whenever I saw Star Wars, I actually thought like I was like, damn, Rey. Like whenever I saw that movie, the first one, Rey's in, I was like, that looks like fucking Grail, dude. Her face looks like Grail to me. Well, I guess I mean that's what matters. It's my character, but anyways. No, I don't think Gal Gadot does too much. Maybe she could with like effort, but I think whoever plays Rey, like her natural face looks like Grail's natural face. I know that you guys only have seen like the animated version of Grail, which isn't like super accurate, but in my head, like I have a very accurate like physically real Grail, and it looks like that. maybe a bit more like chiseled and a bit more strong, but she definitely looks like Rey. Like because I remember watching that movie and like all I could think about every scene I saw her in was that's fucking Grail. Like that's real life Grail right there. That's what she looks like. Other than she's just not big. I was thinking of the female knight from Game of Thrones. Everybody, oh, dude, so many people compare. Like anytime I talk about Grail, they're always like, "Oh, she's like Brienne of Tarth." I'm like, she's definitely not like Brienne of Tarth. They're so different. But yeah, they're both like really big, tall women. That's like, but that's where their similarities end. They don't look similar, and they're completely different. Because Brienne of Tarth, I don't watch Game of Thrones. I need to, but from what I know, Brienne of Tarth is like really noble, very knightly. Grail is definitely not that. Grail is like Grail's a gang member. I mean, I don't know. She's not good. She had raised ponytail? Yeah. She's manly and blonde. Don't watch the last season. That's what I've heard, to be honest. I mean, I can read the Nelly part, I guess. The Nelly part makes me even more nervous because Nelly is like the reason I started writing, so it's like I'm always worried to write Nelly stuff because I want Nelly stuff to be perfect. Like if Grail stuff is fucked up, then it is what it is, but I want Nelly stuff to be like perfect. But here's the thing though, there is some German in this part. And I'm assuming you guys don't know German. Funny might know German. I feel like most likely Harley and Hero don't. Well, I don't know where Hero's from. I don't remember. I don't know. Funny might know German. Do you? Do any of you know German? I mean, any of you could know German. Hero doesn't know German. Oh, you're German. Oh no, I'm gonna fuck up the German words, and then you're gonna be like, "You're shit." Bro. Yeah, I mean, there's some German in here. I feel like, how do I read it? That'd be the question. Do I just translate it as I go, or do I translate it at the end? There's only one thing that's long. You're from Morocco. I only know 3 languages. Arabic. Ooh, English and French. I just know English and a bit of German. Half the time I can't pronounce it. It all sounds angry to me. I actually think that here's my take on German. I gotta say this because I feel like it gets the whole angry rap thing. So I knew this one girl from Germany, and she had the most beautiful voice I've ever heard. No cap. The most beautiful voice I've ever heard. And I think that's what I like about the German language is I feel like out of all languages that I've ever heard, like the German language is the most flexible in the sense that if you want to sound angry and really scary, you can sound that. But if you want to sound like loving, it sounds really good. It actually sounds really good if you want to sound loving. I think German is like one of the best. Like you can project your words really well, like however you want. Like it can sound really lovely. God damn it, my mic's dying again. I gotta turn this shit back on because I can't hear myself. There we go. You can sound really lovely if you want. You can sound really angry if you want. That's what I like about the German language. I think that's like, I don't know. I enjoy that about it specifically. I've been to Germany. There's people who enunciate it hard, and yes, the women are very soft with it until they're mad. Yeah, exactly. But I kind of like that because it's like, yeah, you can definitely make it feel like I feel like with English you can't. Like with English, I feel like you just raise your voice or you lower your voice. But with German, there's something about it. You can speak it a bit different. I don't know, it just sounds nice sometimes, but then you could say the same shit and make it sound scary. Anyways, I can read the Nelly part, even though I'm nervous about that part too. Let's see. English it's all vocal tone. Yeah. I hate English. I actually really don't like the sound of it. It sounds like shit. I think trying to think of how I could do the translations. Let me think about that. I think it's best if I just say it and explain later. I think that's probably the best, because... Or I could just... Okay, so I'm gonna say two. I'm gonna say two immediately. Do them afterwards once you're done. I'll say two right now, and then I'll do the last one once it's done. The last one's the big one. So there's only one sentence that's in German, or it's two sentences back to back, I think, or something like that. It's like a longer one. And then there's two phrases, or there's two words. Well, I guess a word and a name. So one of them, the first word, which is like instantly in this, is Glühwein. Glühwein is like, it means glowing wine. It's like a heated wine. It's like a hot wine you drink in the winter. It's just a wine, but yeah, it's called Glühwein. And then there's a place that's called Der Schwarze See, which just means like the Black Lake. That's a place that's gonna get mentioned. So those two are like easy ones, right? The Black Lake and then like heated wine. Those are really early on. And then later we'll have like a sentence, and I'll just translate the sentence after it's done. I think that'll work. Because it's near the end anyways. It's near the end anyways. But also that the German sentence is my favorite. It's the most meaningful part of this whole thing too. It's the best. Anyways. So the Nelly story is called Eternally Yours. And I love Nelly so much. This is great. This is great stuff. I was so nervous to write this though, but yeah, it's called Eternally Yours. After a nice sip of warm Glühwein, Nelly grabbed a blanket to shield herself from the cold. She took a moment to wrap it around her body delicately and took a seat at her desk, only to peer out of her window for a moment and watch the snow fall. With her arms free to move outside the blanket, she could continue with her drink, but more importantly, she could continue writing. Despite having an entire book to write, something made her want to try something new today. The story she normally wrote was getting more difficult to write each and every time, and it was almost like she was slowly losing interest. It made her feel sad, but the feeling only lasted a moment as she convinced her mind that all would work out in the end. Instead, today she wanted to write about herself, which was something she hadn't done in quite some time. She also wanted to write about the past few days she had spent with her mother, and a person who had gained a special place in her heart recently. So under the warm comfort of her blanket, she pressed her hands against the side of her hair and pulled it back over her shoulders. Lightly tapping the pen to her cheek, she gathered her thoughts for a second, then eagerly pressed it to the page as a large smile took over her face. I'm not sure how to even begin to explain this past week. It was quite an interesting one, she wrote. First, I got to go to my mother's old home when she was a kid. Well, the area at least. The home is no longer there, but she showed me a spot out by Der Schwarze See where she used to go and speak with my father before they were married. She laughed to herself, remembering the story her mother told her. Apparently, his family was super strict, so he would lie and say he was out helping my grandfather, which was quite funny when they found out my mother's father lived elsewhere. I would have loved to hear my father tell this story because he was so charismatic. He told stories the way they should be told. I have always liked to think that I get the urge to write and create from him, Nelly wrote with a smile. Unfortunately, he passed away when I was 11. He was a soldier and died helping others here in Vela. He always told me about how happy he was with my mother, so when I think of his passing, I try not to be sad. Instead, I try to remember his smile, his laugh, and most importantly, the way he looked at my mother. He could sit across from her without speaking, and she always felt loved. With him, she was always happy. Nelly wrote down the thought as she recalled such a wondrous feeling. I've been really wanting to write about this recently because, well, I recently met somebody who makes me feel that way. Nelly's heart skipped a beat. She had never written about them, and even though her writing would most likely not be read, she was still nervous. Nelly always wanted to show everyone love throughout her life, but this time it was different, like it was meant to be. Only, she knew if she wrote or talked about it with others, they would judge her based on its weird nature. Oh, come on, Nell, who cares what people think, she said aloud before taking a deep breath. Do you remember the man I wrote about before? The one from my dreams? She posed a question to her imaginary audience. Well, I saw him a few times since, and even though he doesn't speak to me, when I'm with him I feel love? Sort of hard to explain. I mean, how could you love someone that you've barely spoken to and don't know? She wrote with a nervous laugh. But this time I woke up, lying next to him. It was in my room, and I had my arms around him so tight that nothing could take him away. I wanted so much to wake him, to talk to him and ask how he was, but instead, I rested my head against him. I felt happiness like never before. And yeah, I know I'm always so happy, but this time it was different. I wish I could explain it to you. Wish you could feel it. It's so special. I wish I knew how to describe it. We are. She stopped for a moment, getting stuck on finishing the last line, and even started to question how crazy she must seem. Of course, the thought of him not being real entered her mind, but she was hesitant to write that down, for she did not truly believe he was just in her mind. When she saw him, he appeared as a ghost. When she saw him in her dreams, he appeared as a ghost, and something made her feel like her subconscious did not simply create him from these dreams. Maybe I am just crazy, but the feeling I got when I saw him in my dreams weeks ago, when I wrote about it, I felt like I was looking for something in my room and I couldn't find it. The dream ended when I saw him. She took a long pause. Could it be that he was the thing I was looking for? The thing that was missing? She questioned. Could this be someone I knew in a past life? You know, my mother often told me that she believed if someone's life ended before they completed their life's goal that they would be reborn. Could it be that I knew him and her writing trailed off again? She felt a wave of thoughts hit her mind. Thoughts that people would make fun of her for talking like this. Nellie knew she was being as logical as she could, but this whole scenario was just plain weird. Though she couldn't be more certain that he was not just some random man in her dreams. Lost in her thoughts, her hand grew numb from the cold, and when she finally snapped out of her daze... I keep forgetting to fucking change this line, but it's because I can't edit it. Anyways, I'm just gonna read it, but I don't like it, because I used cold twice here, it sounds weird anyways. Her hand grew numb from the cold when she finally snapped out of her daze, the wine had gone cold and no longer was any good to her. She peered into the mirror to see herself again, but this time there were no smile, just deep thought. It was weird seeing herself without a smile. Everything now just felt different. Well, anyways, like I was saying, Nellie began to write again with a sigh. I ended up giving him a name because I feel he deserves to be known as something more than just the ghost. And she stopped once more. Putting words on the page was now draining and difficult. With a deep breath, she placed her pen. She placed down her pen and, along with her notebook, closed her eyes to think. Did any of this make sense, or was she just creating a person from a fragment left in her mind as she dreamt? Once she finally opened her eyes and saw herself in the mirror again, the smile had returned to her. It was slight, but it was there nonetheless. The softness of her face reminded her of her mother before her lovely ocean blue eyes let a tear fall down her cheek. Beautiful and thick, wavy, dark brown hair surrounded the sides of her head, and a cute sprinkle of freckles spanned over her cheeks. All of it reminded her of her mother, and instantly she was in a better mood. She even took a moment to carefully pull back her hair, with her hands to emulate a bun, which was how her mother often wore her hair. With Nellie turning 21, she had lived with her mother all her life and decided she wanted to live on her own, but she still wanted to be close. Together they cleaned up the space above the shop that they ran together, and for the past 3 months, Nellie and her friend were living there. It was such a nice change of pace. She finally felt like she was becoming less of a young girl and more of a woman. Everything seemed like it was all heading in the right direction. While she had always felt comfortable in her own skin, she was really starting to love everything about herself. Like, she used to dislike always being the short one. When she was asked, she would lie and say she was 155 centimeters tall, but really that were only true if she stood on the tips of her toes. That was her attempt at feeling taller. The same positive attitude was true with her body as well. She had finally grown into loving her more curvy figure and finally felt happy with herself being around the average weight for a woman her age. Sometimes in the past she wanted to be as thin as the thinnest girl she had seen, but now she was wondering why. She loved the way she looked, and questioning anything about herself was so far out of mind. Everything that made her who she was also made her happy. After what seemed like hours, she finally snapped out of the mirror's spell. Slowly she stood up and pulled the wrapped blanket from around her. In the comfort of her own home, she wore a nice teal top, the most comfortable black shorts in the world, and of course, her favorite purple socks. With one last glance in the mirror, Nellie stepped towards the warm comfort of her bed, a scented candle guiding her way through the clothing-covered floor of her room while she hummed a tune to herself that had been stuck in her head all day. She gently sat down on the bed and flipped her hair back behind her before pulling off the socks and tossing them to the floor. I should probably clean some. She looked at the small pile of clothes that had been there for a day or two. I'll get to it tomorrow. She smiled as she got comfortable in bed. Finally, she pulled over her favorite light blue pillow, and with her head slightly pressed against it, she smiled, her lips starting to part slowly before her voice pierced the silence. Would you like to sleep now? She asked, but only the wind responded with a faint, high-pitched whirl against the window. I just want you to know that I really enjoyed our time a few nights ago, and I hope to see you again tonight, she said nervously, carefully making sure her hair wasn't under her as she slept. The cover gave her comfort and confidence, somehow pushing some of the nerves aside. But if not tonight, I'm sure I will see you again soon, yeah? She rolled over and gripped her pillow tightly against her body, almost letting a name leave her lips, but instead kept it prisoner. Aber egal, ein Teil von dir bleibt für immer bei mir? She smiled. Und ich hoffe, du magst deinen Namen genauso wie ich, mein Liebster. She spoke quietly to her right with a contagious smile, hesitating on the last two words. Her eyes began to close, and her smile brightened at the thought that crossed her mind, the thought of another dream, another lovely night, and another moment with someone she felt so close to, even if it were for but a night. Well, that's that. The German line at the end, it's two lines. It's the most important part of it. It's like, it means like, so like the first part is her saying like, after all, I'll always keep a piece of you with me forever. She smiled, and then the second part is, and I hope that you love your name as much as I do, my love. That's what that means. Which is, yeah, that's the most important part of it. That's the line that I wrote about, like, the real Nelly. I wrote, like, a post about, like, the girl that I see in my dreams. I mean, obviously, this is, like, a flip of reality for me, right? It's like Nelly, she's dreaming about me, basically, I guess, right? Character based on me, I suppose. But anyways, this is, like, a flip on my reality, obviously. Like, Nelly, I mentioned, she's, like, the girl I see in my dreams. I'm tearing up a bit. Fucking reading this shit. Just because I haven't like read it to a group of people before, to be honest. But yeah, it means a lot to me. That line I actually wrote about the real Nelly. I wrote that exact line where it's like, always keep a piece of you with me forever, no matter what. And then like, but I hope you love your name as much as I do, because I'm the one that named her. Like, I gave her the name Nelly. She doesn't have the name Nelly. It's not like I know her name from my dreams. I gave her the name Nelly, and I feel like it fits her perfectly. Like, it's lovely and unique. I don't know. I never met a Nelly, but I love this one, so I don't know. Anyways, it's like a complete flip on that, where like she names him. Obviously, she doesn't say the name that she came up with here, but she almost said it. She mentioned that she was gonna like name him and all that shit. And then ending with that line is pretty awesome, because that's like my favorite. I think like I wrote this thing about Nelly, and it's like genuinely one of the best things I ever wrote. But it's like not about the book. Obviously, it's about the real Nelly. And I've actually had some people read it like on accident. They found like my profile and they read it. And they were like, damn, this book is really good. And I'm just like, that shit is not from the book. That's like my life, bro. I wrote that shit about like Nelly, the girl I see in my dreams. That's not the book. That's just me writing that shit. But I thought it was really cool to like throw like that's like my favorite line. I think that like that line meant the most to me. I can't remember why I wrote that. Can't remember why I wrote that Nelly thing. All I remember is I fucking teared the fuck up writing that shit, because for some reason, and I wrote it in the post too, something about writing that shit made me so sad, because like I was writing about like how much it mattered. I was writing about how much my dreams mattered, and like how much she mattered in my life, like how much impact it had in my life. But fuck, I'm losing my train of thought. What was I gonna say? Lost my train of thought. There it goes. I mean, I'll have it here in a second. I don't remember. I don't remember. Basically, I was just writing about like how important it was in my life, and yeah, I teared up a lot writing that shit. It was actually really hard to write, because for some reason, even though it was just a post, like there was nothing special about it, and I wasn't let me rephrase that. There was no reason to write it other than I just wanted to write about her, right? There's no like, it's not like I'm fucking saying I'm never gonna see her again in my dreams or some shit, but that's like how I felt when I was writing it. It felt like a goodbye shit, and that's not a good feeling when it's like the dreams of her changed my life, man. I had a lot of violent dreams, like that was like the only things that I don't know. It's the first time I felt love in life. It's probably the only time I've actually felt like love in life, to be honest, which is not. I mean, sounds maybe a bit sad, but it's not sad. I mean, it's just I don't think people feel like as much love as I've felt. So beyond expectations. That's good to hear, man. Loved it. You underhyped this. It's gonna be the second book that you read multiple times. So was the first. Your dreams do matter. She's a part of you. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is cool. Nellie's such a hard. Like, I'm more proud of this one. I think the Grail one is really good, but I'm more proud of this one both because it. Well, they both matter a lot. This one matters more. Makes sense though. Like everything Nellie related kind of matters more, just naturally. But also, it's way harder to write Nellie. So much harder because she's like happy and like I don't know, like positive. Grail is easy to write because it's just me. Like I don't know, it's not hard to write. I just write. Like I just write my shit. Like half of Grail's like rants and shit. It's stuff I've already written, so it's like I don't even have to think about it. But writing Nelly stuff is so much more difficult because it's like I have to be so I don't know, like out of my own head. Like I have to be someone completely else to write it because I like to get in like the headspace of what I write. That's kind of how I look at things. And I just can't really do that with Nellie's writing. I have to be the opposite of like in my own head. I have to be like completely opposite. The first was this book called Wendy. It was about a child going through grief of losing his sister. I'm not a big reader, so I haven't heard of it. The only reading I do is of my own writing, which is just kind of sad, but also like a good thing too. It's like I don't know. I just like my own writing enough to where I just read it. Also, I really like, you know what the coolest part about being like a writer is and like writing for so long, for like years and years, is like there's shit that I've written that I forget about. And then like anytime, it's like the best feeling as a writer is like there's times where I'll like come back to something that I wrote like a year ago or like, well, usually like 2 years ago or something like that. I'll like come back to something and I'll like read something I wrote like 2 years ago and like it'll actually blow me away a little bit. You know how cool that is? Like I'll forget about it. And then I'll read it, and like as I'm reading it, I'm like, "Oh my god, I forgot I wrote this. This is so good." Like I have that feeling sometimes with my writing, and like that's like the coolest feeling ever. Is like when you forgot, but then like reading it again, you're like, "Oh my god, that goes so crazy." That's like such a good feeling. That is such a good feeling. Welcome back, Raven. Welcome back. Yeah, I also started writing the Nelly like short story as well, but that's like again really hard to write, to be honest. I want to read you guys like part of the like gang stuff, but I just don't know. Like I'm not really sure I have like a part that I could do that. Did you not make the correlation to what I said about her and what you wrote? She's from another life and you were together. You wrote that about the guy in her dreams. Yeah, I mean, I've heard it before. I've heard it before, and I don't like. Yeah, I don't really disagree. It's not that I haven't made the correlation. I just don't. I don't know. It's like it kind of matches with also like the stuff I was saying about like I just feel like I was born in the wrong time, anyways. So I don't know. Maybe. Definitely maybe. Sure. But it's tough. It's tough to say. I don't know. I always like don't like I don't know. I usually don't say you know what you would find interesting probably, Harley, is you'd probably find it interesting. So my mother has this friend. Oh, you know what's this is crazy. Well, it's crazy to me. How many people? I mean, there's like 4 people in here. I mean, this is pretty personal shit, but I don't mind sharing it. Well, it's not that personal. It's just something that it's usually when I write stuff, I don't hesitate to share it. And it's not even worse than anything else I've written, but you could just probably tell how much I fucking feel it. That the fact that I'm like hesitating about it, but anyways, because it's like actually something I really genuinely feel, and this is something I wrote one time. So my mother has this friend, right? Her name's Eva. Let me read. Wait. For some reason, I think it's from a parallel universe. I don't know if I believe in like a parallel universe or anything. Um. Anyways, my mother has this friend. Her name's Eva, and she's very like. Well, first of all, she's German. That's interesting because Nelly is like German. I think that's why she's German and this as well. But anyways, my mother has this friend that's German, and my mother had met her, and she's telling me about her, and she's like, this is like years ago. She's telling me about her, and she's like, man, I really like this girl. She's very nice. She's cool. We've been hanging out a lot. We've been talking a lot. You know, all this good stuff, right? Saying great things about her. And the more she talks to her, the more she was like, you need to meet her. I'm like, that's weird. Like, why? Like, my mother's never had a single friend or anyone where she's ever like, you need to meet her, right? That's never happened. Why would I meet your friends, you know? But she kept telling me, she was like, you really need to talk to her. Like, you just like talking to her. I don't know. She's into all the stuff you're into. Like, first of all, she's German. You're writing like stuff that's in German. And she was like, you know, she was like from there. She lived there for a long time. So not just like she is partially German, like she was there. She speaks the language really well, and then she's like also into like reading a lot. And then she's also into dreams. So those were like all the things. My mother was like, she's just into so much stuff you like. Like she's into dreams, she's into paranormal stuff, she's into all this stuff. So I like, all right, maybe I'll talk to her one day. And I came home from like work one day, and she was there, and I talked to her. Right, I'm gonna skip a little bit into the story, But Eva, she was like the first person to ever take me seriously, I feel like. Well, it's not that people don't take you seriously, but like when you say like, oh, I feel like I was born in the wrong time, people are just like, yeah. Like, well, what am I supposed to say back to that? I don't know. And then usually if people ever say like, yeah, I believe you, it's kind of weird. Like it's like I almost don't believe them saying they believe me. I don't know how to explain it. And then I get the other thing, which is like, oh, this shit fucking pisses me off. When I say I like would have died for these people, man, there's like, you'll actually get people that are like, oh, you know, if you were there and you saw how bad it was, you'd want to come back or some shit. And it's like, would I want to come back? Fucking maybe, because I would be fucking terrified. Sure, I'm not saying I'm Mr. fucking tough guy out here, but like, I want to die with those people. That's what I would have chosen. And I don't want another choice. That's what I want. Like, that's what I want. Those are my people. Like, that's it. End of discussion. End of discussion. But there's people that fucking doubt that shit, which is annoying as fuck, whatever. Anyways, point being is a couple days prior to me meeting Eva, there was this thing I wrote. It was like very personal to me. I was like nervous to share it with someone because like it could be taken out of context quite badly, I guess, maybe, I don't know. And people are weird. But I wrote this thing like talking about the people that I love, and how like I wanted to die with them or for them or whatever. And I wrote it. I'm trying to remember it. I gotta remember it off the top of my head because I don't have it in front of me and I have no clue where it is. It's in one of my rants somewhere. But I wrote something where I was like, let me think. I gotta think about how it goes. I'm gonna say it and then I'll know it if it sounds weird out loud. I gotta say it out loud. But I wrote something. It was a part of a long rant. This is a bit out of context, but I was talking about these people I loved, and I said something like, I really wish I could kill for these people, and I really wish I could die for these people, but they killed for me and they died for me. I think I said something like that. And that shit, I think it was like one of those things where I wrote it, like I thought it and I wrote it as I was thinking it, but as I wrote it, I like paused and I was just like, yep. Like that's how I feel. It's like I want to do that shit, but they did it for me. That's how it feels. It's like not for me, but you know what I mean. They did it for me. And I didn't get to do it for them. That's how I feel. It's like those are my people. And now I'm by myself. It's like I don't have my people. My people are done. My people are gone. My people are gone. Like there's some people that are like me, but my people are gone. That's how I look at it. It's like I'm the last one of like these kind of people. That's how I feel. Kind of feel shitty, but it is what it is, right? I feel that way, right? And I told Eva this. She was the first person I said that like line to. Because I was kind of nervous to say that to someone because it just sounds weird. And I really feel it. I really meant it. I really mean it. But I remember telling her that. And she had like the craziest response, which was like, well, to me it was crazy. She responded to me saying that by saying like, what did I say? Because I said like I want to do this or something like that. Like I wish I could or I want to. Like kill for them and die for them. And her response to me saying that was like, I don't think you want to or wish you could have. I think you'd just do it again if you could. That's what she said, which was fucking crazy. I didn't know she was like really thought about like I didn't know she like believed in like reincarnation and shit. But she like was the first person that was ever just like, I believe you. Like I think you'd do it again. Like you're talking like you'd do it again. Like you already done it. That shit was crazy to me, man. That shit stood out to me. And I talked to her about the Nelly dreams and all that. She always felt the same way. She felt like I don't know. Yeah, she always felt that way. It's interesting stuff. But the book is a great way for me to like showcase it all. And I wasn't meant to be a character in my book, you know? I was telling you guys about that, right? I wasn't meant to be a character in my book. That's what, you know, that's what Grail's for, right? Grail is like me, but not me, right? That's the whole point of her. Well, yeah, and then I ended up putting me in the book because I had to do the like Nelly seeing someone in her dreams thing because obviously that's fucking cool. Can't not do that. I mean, it's like the most important part. It's like the thing that like it's literally like the point. That's literally why I started writing, was because Nelly in my dreams. So obviously I had to do the dream thing. But then it like, yeah, now it's me. Now there's a me now there's like two people that are based on me in the book, which is really strange. Because one of them like actually has my name and is literally like me. And then the other one is like heavily based on me. But what's cool is they're actually very different. Like the guy that she sees in her dreams and Grail are very, very different, even though they're both like heavily, like they're both literally meant to be me, essentially, kind of. I don't want to say too much on what I think because I'll sound crazy. Yeah, I mean that's how I feel. That's also why I wrote in the Nelly thing, you know, like you know how like Nelly was debating like, oh, like people make fun of me for talking about how much I love this guy in my dreams, basically. That's like all that's kind of from me too. Cuz like I feel the same way. It's like I don't know. You know what? Oh my god. I feel like Harley, you'll just like hearing this. Because I just have to share this with you. So I do like deliveries, right? That's like my job, is like deliveries. And I wear this necklace. Like I have this necklace, right? I think you guys probably saw it. Hang on, let me see. Let me do this. Boom. Picture of Nelly, right? Let's see. I think you have these thoughts, feelings, and dreams because of your past life experiences. Maybe. Alright. We're looking at a picture of Nelly, right? This is like roughly the girl I see in my dreams. This is not perfectly accurate to what she is. This is an artist that drew this, obviously, so it's like I mean, only as good as I can communicate, but this is pretty close. I think the other one's actually closer for the vibe. This one's closer. Just the vibe of it's closer. But anyways, alright, we're looking at Nelly. The necklace she has, that's like a thing in the book, right? Like she has this like amethyst necklace. It means a lot to her. She never like takes it off pretty much. So I have a necklace as well that I made specifically like because of Nelly, right? I have like an amethyst necklace. It doesn't look like that though. It looks like it's amethyst beads, and then I put like rings on it. I bought a few rings. Like I wear them, or I wear the necklace, right? I wear it every day. I wear it every day. The idea was like to maybe help with my anger, some, because if I ever feel the necklace or if I ever think of the necklace, I think of Nelly, and that's like the best thing I could think of. So it's pretty good for that reason. Although it doesn't really work all the time because like my anger is pretty bad, and I don't really think of like nice shit when I've got anger because like it's not in front of me, kind of thing, right? That's besides the point. I wear the necklace, right? The necklace reminds me of Nelly. That's the point of the necklace. It's like an amethyst necklace based on hers, kind of shit. Anyways, I've worn this necklace every day. Well, not every. I mean, there's times where I forget it, right? And then I kind of feel like shit. I'm like, God damn it, I forgot my necklace. It means so much to me and all that shit, right? But there's times where, oh, good morning, Layla. There's times where I forget the necklace, right? But I basically wear it every day, right? I make it a point to wear it every night, every day. I have an amethyst necklace and bracelet I wear every day. I made mine at a crystal shop. Mine has like 3 rings on it. One of them is like a ring I thought Nelly would like. One of them is a ring that has Nelly's name on it. And then the other one is also just a ring that I thought Nelly would like. Anyways, getting back to my point. So I do deliveries, right? And I've worn this necklace like pretty much every day for fucking 3 years at this point, right? 2 years, 3 years, I don't know. Probably 2 years, because I probably made it 2 years ago or something like that. I don't know. I've worn it for a long time, right? And for the longest time, I kind of have this thought in the back of my head, like, why does nobody ever ask me about it? I mean, not that I'm asking, like, not that I want people to ask me about it, but like, so many people see me and they see what I wear. Like, I wear all black and I wear, like, you know, whatever I wear, right? I wear what I wear. I mean, I don't know. I look a certain way. I don't really look, like, I don't wear any color. And I'm wearing this necklace that's clearly not a thing that fits me, right? Like, it stands out. That's all I'm saying. It stands out. Nobody's like, and nobody's ever really asked about it, which kind of blows my mind, right? Nobody's really ever asked about it. Now, I guess, like, I mean, people just don't want to be nosy or whatever, but they don't ask about it. No one ever asked about it. Clearly has someone else's name on it and shit like that, right? Anyways, I went to this delivery a couple days ago, and I put in my Discord chat. I was like, you know how the smallest things can make your whole day, and the reason was because I went to this guy's house to do a delivery, and I started talking to him about his car that was sitting outside, and I just liked it. I was like, damn, I've never seen one of these. I like this thing, and he was talking to me about his car, and we got into talking and all that stuff. He's like, I like your car, man. It's cool, all this shit, right? And he has 3 kids, and they're probably all like ages, like, I don't know, I'm not good with ages, but probably like 7 through 10, I don't know. Like, they're walking around, they're like jumping around, they can obviously talk, like they're at that kind of age. I don't know, I'm bad with ages, like I said. Anyways, his kids were like super comfortable around me, I guess. I don't know, they were like all getting really close to me, and one of them was like playing with the bag that I was carrying, whatever, and I didn't care, whatever. I'm just talking to the dad, and this little girl came up to me, and she like came right up to me and she grabbed my necklace, like gently, not like aggressively or anything like that. She wasn't gonna break it, but she grabbed it and she just looked at it and she was like, I love this color. That's the first time anybody's ever mentioned the necklace, bro. It literally made my fucking day. Made my fucking week, probably. Because, like, the whole point is, like, it's like the positivity, right? Like, I wear the necklace because of Nelly. I wear the necklace to remember, like, things aren't shit. And, like, just the little girl, like, being like, oh, I love the color. It's like, yeah, me too. I think that's literally what I said, because I didn't know what to say. I was just like, me too. But, like, me too. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's just, like, it meant a lot to me, because it's the first time that anybody ever mentioned it. It's like, sounds like such a simple thing. It's just like a little kid, but it's literally just like the first time anybody's ever mentioned the necklace, and like obviously the necklace means so much to me. So it was quite nice. And yeah, I don't know. I just feel like those moments are quite nice. Definitely makes me I don't know, just happy to I don't know what I'm saying anymore, but just the Nelly stuff. It's anything that like revolves around her. It's always nice. Especially because, like I said, I'm just angry most of the time, to be honest. And yeah, it's good. Like the necklace helps. Also, just like the thought of her. I have like the Nelly art. This one. This is my favorite one. I mean, like I said, the quality's kind of bad here. But this is like my favorite Nelly piece. The one without Grail. I have the one. I have like one without Grail as well. But I have this Nelly piece, and I have it like it's my phone background. And like you know how many days are just shit, and then I open my phone and I'm just like, it's not so shit. Yeah, I have that so much. Yeah, it was good. It was precious, yeah. Layla, why didn't you sleep longer? Why are you already up? Or why am I still up? No, why are you already up? That's a good question. That's the better question. I mean, I shouldn't be up either, but why are you up? I don't know if there's anything else I could read you guys. I hit 1.3k. Let's go. That's cool. I could sense you were still streaming. Had to come talk to you again. You just missed me reading my writing, Layla. I don't know if you would have liked it, but I just read some of my writing. They seem to like it quite a bit. We definitely missed you. You're still getting the signed copy? I mean, yeah, you can have that. Yeah, but I don't know. This part wasn't in the book, so you may never hear this part, you know? Now you're one part behind. You'll never hear it. Everyone wants a signed copy. Now I really want to I want to read you guys like part of the Grail thing, but I don't know what to. Hang on, let me look. I want to read you guys like the some of the gang kind of stuff, dude. It's cool, but I don't know if I have anything that's like that I'm ready to read yet. Yeah, I still gotta check. Oh, that's what I'm looking through my writing, and it's like check below, check below. It's like me writing notes because I'm just like, yeah, that's not done. That's not done. Dude, I'm reading the part of how she gets like the name Grail. It goes fucking crazy. I love it. How much for a copy? I don't know, bro. I don't know how much the book's actually gonna be, bro. You'll put it next to your Harry Potter collection, and that's a big deal for you. I appreciate that. I'm reading through these. I'm trying to see if there's a part that I wouldn't mind reading. But if I do, it's gonna be out of context, out of context. Yeah, I love these lines, but like I don't know if I'll have to describe them. Like they're not good lines if you have to describe them, kind of. Like I feel like a lot of the things she says like aren't gonna make sense to people, but they make sense to me. I mean, it's context clues. That's what you got to do. I mean, I've written decent context clues to where like her lines should make sense, but some of them are definitely like weird. And I could read this part, I guess. I don't know, bro. I don't know what part to read. All right, I might read this. I don't know. Is this good? Just read it. This is the OG Grail shit, the gang shit, violent shit. Um, do it. This is like I'm almost debating just reading the entire part, but I kind of don't want to do that because then it kind of kills the like I shouldn't read a whole part. Um, I don't think I should read a whole part. Not that it's too long. It's just like if I read a whole part. Um, sorry. Let's see. We want to hear all the details about violence. I mean, I guess I'll fucking read the whole part, bro. I don't know. Just because this part is kind of cool, though. Yeah, I mean, kinda. Alright, I'll read this whole part, but, like, just keep in mind, alright? Before you guys judge this shit too harshly, keep in mind that this isn't done. So this is part of, like, the, like, read over and double check and, like, add some shit and all that good shit, right? So there's a lot of shit to be doing here. And also, I think there's a part with a lot of dialogue, and I need to, like, I need to like add more shit. I need to add more shit. God damn it. I'm gonna be like, this is cringy to read this part because it's not done yet, but I'm just gonna do it. Quit critiquing yourself. I can't quit critiquing myself. This shit is like my life. I have to fucking do it right. All right. Forgive my London accent, but I'm gonna try the London accent, obviously, because of course I have to read it in a London accent if they're speaking in it. So you know how it goes. This is part 5 of the Renmore Reaper, bro. We're deep in Renmore Reaper right now. This is far. But it's not like there shouldn't be spoilers, bro. I'm just gonna read this whole shit. Unless you guys want me to just read half of it. You're gonna come and smack me upside the head. I mean, that's fine. I'm fine with that. Is Layla still in here? I don't know if she wants to hear it anyways. But I think she's here. As a Briton, I shall judge that nicely. Oh yeah, I forgot you. Oh no. I don't know why I forgot you're from there, not the US. Read all of it. Read all of it. Alright. Like I said, take it with a grain of salt because I need to like actually look over this shit. So this is like technically not done yet, but anyways. This is the Renmore Reaper Part 5, and it's called On Volts. Which is just a term. I don't think I've used the term yet, I guess. But basically, like, on volts is like, it's a term that Grail uses, and like some of these people use to say like he's pretty mad. Like if you say somebody's on volts, like you're like, oh yeah, Grail's walking around on volts. It basically means she like is looking to fuck someone up, kind of thing. I don't know, it's like walking around with anger. Ooh, wait, I gotta skip that line. Hang on, fuck. I might need to fucking hang on. I gotta skip the first line because that's a spoiler. We're going to start with this second line. It's going to sound a bit weird, but hey, we're starting with the second line. Yeah, fuck it. In the meantime, she had spent half her time at the lake recovering while remaining a close distance from her forest friend. Each night she caught the bear looking up seemingly to check on her. It felt good having something keep her in mind, something that acknowledged her existence, something that didn't make her angry, but even calmed the burning flame inside her. When she wasn't at the lake, she found herself at the nameless tavern in Renmore chatting with Vic whilst trying to avoid the mention of her moment of weakness, despite knowing that sooner or later it would most likely come up. To her surprise, the days there were a nice change of pace. She was eating well, and with the new taste of wine introduced to her, things seemed refreshing, or maybe it was just the slight happiness it brought when it got her all woozy. Either way, most of the gangdom seemed to welcome her in, like-minded people. Only 2 out of the 7 strikers that lived there seemed to hold resentment against her. Why, she did not know. One night, the gangdom sat around the warming fire, spinning stories of iron, stories that made her realize she wasn't the only one seeking to rid these volts onto man. A part of her finally felt like she had found her tribe. But still, in the cold corner opposite the fire, she sat, an outcast among outcasts. At least she had her hatred to keep her warm as she patiently waited for Vic. He previously mentioned tonight being the night, and all she could do is wonder what that meant. After downing half a bottle of white wine, he finally walked in with his older brother Amon, a man with similar blue-green eyes and tan skin, but where Vic's beard was shaved close to the jaw, Amon's dark brown beard extended low enough to cover an old slash across his neck. With them stepping in, the room got quiet. She saw them geared out in sleeks with blades ready, which caused her mind to jump out of its drunken stupor with excitement for violence. That was before Garrus, the man sat in the corner opposite of her, staring at her all night, finally spoke up. So, are we really gliding with a girl? I find it jokes that weeks ago you told my man there was no room, but when she came in, it's treated like a sign from Votan himself. He turned his body to face Vic, hoping for some sort of reasoning behind bringing her into the gang and immediately allowing her to glide. The last member that was added to this group was 4 years prior, and they had vowed to never let anyone in after what happened last time. So why her? Why now? Well, maybe it's because your man didn't do shit, Vic replied quickly. And she has? I mean, she yinged a neek from the way down, so she done the same shit you've been chirping about all year. His defense of her rang true. Garrus always bragged about how he ran a man down months ago and gave him 7. They all heard the stories many times. Even the stray who was barely here had heard the story twice, which actually reminded her. Rah, not only did I ying a man down like you, but you always brag about how the man you shaft up now walks with a sling? Yeah?
Well, I'm sure the man I done will have a bit more trouble walking, considering he's dug in the mud. She spoke with force before interrupting his reply. And this girl has a name. You man can call me Grail. Speak it with respect or not at all. She stared daggers at him, which he somehow found amusing still. You caught a killer in a good mood. Man would have ended you on any other night, Garrus added. Oh yeah? And what about you, man? She stepped up, closing the space between them to the point where he could feel her breath pressing down on him. Can you man in me? I'm ready to sling tonight. She lowered her hand to her hip. Both of you just save it for those fucking neeks from the way. Vic looked between the two. We both rennie, so drop it. Yeah, well, some of us more than others, Garrus added to the end, still staring at Grail as he took a step back. Shut the fuck up before you embarrass yourself, Amon added as he walked behind the bar to grab another drink. Grail? Vic spoke with a smile, happy with her newfound name. You good? Man's chilling. Grail spoke passively to piss Garrus off. Just man wants smoke, I got smoke. I'm walking around on volts all day and I'm itching to back this blade. I'll even duck man down with the vibes if I have to. She pointed at the bottle of alcohol in his hand, causing another member to laugh. Their reaction was something that made her smile, which immediately went back to a frown after the glass shards. Oh, this isn't going to make any sense to you guys right here. Their reaction caused her to smile, which immediately went back to a frown after the glass shards inside her lip from a few months back brought her back to reality. She has glass shards stuck in her lip that she can't get out, and they fucking hurt. That's what that means. So anytime she smiles, that shit fucking hurts. Anyways, that's enough, Vic scolded her. You two need to find a way to squash this. If you gotta get Hinch, do so outside, but for fuck's sake, still the blades. In fact, until you two resolve this, you ain't coming out with us. Immediately, Grail tilted her head in frustration, still staring at Garrus. How do you want to resolve this? Man's down to just move on, or we can get Hinch. All eyes turned to Garrus as he shook his head. Shit's a waste of time, Vic. I'm not trying to waste mine. I got shit to do. He stormed out. Fuck it. Amon took a sip from a dark red drink. All of you get the fuck out. We'll sit down tomorrow and we'll resolve this petty shit. One member tried to speak up, but it was instantly shut down. It was done. The night's plans ruined over a stupid comment. It wasn't the first time that applied either. This group was many things, but social was not among them. With an awkward silence, Grail accepted that she was out for the night, making sure to bring that bottle of wine with her as she got up. One effortless wave goodbye and she stepped out to the cool breeze. While the thought of the lake sounded nice, she was far too drunk for that long of a walk. I'm skipping this next line because I'm not saying that right now. It's not bad or anything, it's just, it doesn't make sense and I'm skipping it. In the streets, all eyes rested on her. Everyone in Renmore had heard what she had done in that bando months ago, how she left that man looking was that of a horror story. Since then, she had only gotten taller and much bigger. That certainly didn't help ease people's opinions of her, but food was no longer an issue. Now that she was with Gangdom, they had her back, at least so they said, but words and actions are vastly different. Words don't hold any weight, not in Grail's mind. The gang life was different. Sure, it wasn't the best way to live, but at least they showed a young girl some love from time to time, especially Vic. He was the best of them. The only one that actually weighed opinions and valued the individual's life. There were downsides, of course. All this talk of Grail being a girl had come up multiple times from Garrus, and it was so confusing to her. She didn't get what that meant. Like, why does it matter? She wondered. But she knew she would not solve this puzzle. Not drunk, that's for sure. She thought about how they spoke on other girls they saw, flirting and inviting them over, but why would they invite them over and yet shun her? It made no sense. It almost seemed as though the more she had in common with them, the less they liked her, but that didn't make any sense at all. Shouldn't it be the other way around, she thought? That's beside the point. The point is, yes, things are not the best, but things could be worse. That was definitely the first time in her life she felt that. Usually things were about as bad as they could get, and any time something nice happened, something bad immediately followed. Not to mention her latest newfound love being wine. I mean, really, how did she survive without this stuff? It was magical to the mind. With one big swig, she tilted the bottle high into the clouds, blocking out the bullshit of the world. With the bottom of the bottle raised, the night got better and better. She found herself smiling at nothing. What an odd sensation. The wine this time made her twitch as though something cold touched her back. The feeling shot through her body like adrenaline, but as the body lowered, she felt it again and again. This time, the cold sensation was not produced by wine. It all happened so quick. She wasn't even aware she was losing her footing until her face met with gravel. Still unaware of the hand that pushed her, she spun around, now starting to choke on the wine she was caught enjoying. It was this second. It was at this second she saw a small flick in their hand pull back blood that was once in her body. It was quick and painless, even as it jabbed her again and again. 3, 4, 5, 6. With drunken vision, she tried to block the knife, but another found its way to her. 2 tightly cloaked figures with masks hiding all but their eyes pushed her to the ground and started chinging her down with lightning-quick blades. Or maybe it was 3 figures. But her mind couldn't decipher the wine's tricks in time. It was just a matter of seconds and it was done. In and out like the blades, she received multiple stabbings to the arms and body. All motion quickly came to a halt as she felt major loss of function. The last of her own movement she felt was her head slumping to the ground hard as blood began to leak into a small puddle around her. With eyes barely open, she watched one man frisk her, pulling the long blade from her waistband before kicking her side. Luckily for him, his voice was drowned out by her pain as he muttered another threat, or else there would have been a chance it awoke the passenger that was hidden beneath her skin. Then a higher pitched tone picked up, but just like the first, it was impossible to focus on, just senseless speech. Her voice was like the blood leaking through her fingers. There was no way to keep it all to herself. Grail tried to pick apart his words, but soon the sound of his voice faded as darkness took her sight and carried her into a void of slumber. It was like falling asleep. Time seemed a thing of the past, along with her own thoughts. She had vague dreams of slaughter, dreams of yinging and slashing, both dealt by her and to her. This was her way of life. Here in Rinmore, the blade is law, and that was fine by her. It was more than fine. She had no idea whether it had been minutes or days, but when her eyes opened, they opened with enough vengeance to rip the walls of this cabin to dust. It felt like she had enough hatred backing strength to take the bones off the walls and snap them in half with her bare hands. She could slaughter hundreds with the thoughts racing through her mind. Her mind stopped to think. Bones? Only now did she take in her surroundings. She found herself on a table in the center of a dark room with only faint candlelight to aid the eyes. While it wasn't much, it allowed just enough vision to spot the dark undertone that exuded around her. But while a feeling of emptiness may have lingered in the room, it did far more than linger in her chest. The darkness in this room may have been unnerving, but the darkness in her heart was certain to leave a man forgotten. The passenger below felt disrespect and cowardice, 2 things it hated, 2 things that in extreme moments had caused Grail's mind to slip to a less than peaceful side. To run up on someone that never saw you? That wasn't how Grail did things. She wanted to look you deep in your eyes as she did a man proper. That's how you do it. This place she had found herself waking to may have scared any normal person, but Grail is far from normal. Not only that, but in this moment, nothing could stop that passenger within from forcefully exchanging vengeance for cowardice. So much so that she nearly forgot the new issue at hand. But whoever took her here better greet her with grace, because Grail has business elsewhere and plenty of volts to go around. So that's that. That's on volts. Yeah, that shit goes pretty fucking hard. Not gonna lie. That's one like that. I don't know. That part is like I was actually gonna do a teaser for that part. I was gonna throw like a teaser out where she's like drinking the wine and like the cold sensation. You know, that shit goes crazy. Like the wine giving her a cold sensation, and then just fucking that's something else that's cold, and it's a knife, and that sucks. Yeah, I love this. I love the the slang. The way she talks is just fucking awesome. And like some of these lines, like it just allows you to be so creative. Like the creative shit. Like I love this line where she's like saying like I'll even duck you down with the vibes if I have to. Like what she's talking about, like basically stabbing me up with a bottle of alcohol. That's fucking crazy. And like the gang's like laughing at him kind of, or they're laughing at what she's saying. And she's like partially joking, but also like I'm fucking down for this shit though. Like I actually love that. It's like a cool line. It's just unique. It's weird. It's funny, kind of, but like fucked up still. I don't know. I like that. Also, just she's tough. She's tough as fuck. I just like her lines. Like the lines at the beginning, the back and forth is pretty cool. Kind of like that. Yeah, lots of cool lines in here. I like this part. It's got a little bit of everything. Because I also like the middle. This is like where she finds wine. In the actual story, she loves wine. Like she always drinks wine, and she's like a happy drunk. Like Grail is obviously always mad, but she's like a happy drunk. When she drinks, she's like gets a little bit more happy. I was scared you were gonna leave us on a cliffhanger. That was a cliffhanger, bro. A little bit. I mean, I could have also left on her just blacking out a bit. She's such a great character, dude. I fucking love her, man.
and she's a lot better than what you guys have heard. There's a lot more like there's actually a lot of deep thought within her too. It's not just this. Like you guys have heard like the anger shit, but there's actually a lot of moments that are like kind of sincere and like really, I don't know. I like her. That's all I'm saying. I put a lot of effort in her. If Britton was reading her speech, it would be as equally as amazing, but I could hear the emotions as you read it. Yeah, it's like, I mean, that's the thing about Grail that's good, is like most of it came from me. Most of like the anger came from me. So like I can feel it. Especially like this end. Like the end, where it's like, I don't know. I mean, the end is, it's also something that I just feel like just to put this in perspective, I wrote this entire story. I didn't write a single bit of this story when I was feeling good. I wrote every single line in the story when I was like angry. So that's why like I feel like you can feel it a little bit. And I really like this ending. Like the ending is really good too, where it's like, you know, she almost forgot. Like she's so like not afraid of whoever the fuck, like wherever she's at, that she almost forgot about it. Like all she's thinking about is like, who did this and where do I find them? It's like I've got like I've been looking for this. Like that's how she feels. It's like because Grail, she like wants to do bad things to people. Like she wants to hurt people, but she doesn't want to hurt like random people. She wants to hurt people that she feels like deserve it. So it's almost like it's like she's asking for it. Like she wants the violence to happen. So it's like now that this has happened, it's almost like it's like an invitation for her. Like that's how she kind of views this. It's like, oh, you want to do this shit then? Bet. It's on. And I really like this ending of like, you know, Grail has business elsewhere and she's got plenty of volts to go around. That's pretty cool. Because I already mentioned the on volts thing, I think, somewhere in here. There was like another mention. Oh yeah, she said like I'm on volts and I'm like looking to back this blade, something like that, I think. She said that near the beginning. So I like circling back and like ending it with like plenty of volts to go around. Yeah, she definitely got that. Got a lot. I can already tell there's going to be great character development throughout the story. Yeah, there is. Actually, there's one character that you guys don't know about that has some insane development, but it's really cool. It's one of the other main characters. She needs a reason to hurt people, kind of. Like, she doesn't want to be, like, complete shit, but also, like, Grail is, like, I mean, Grail, like, it's just people, like, some people will agree with it, some people don't. I actually agree with it. I mean, it's my way of thinking, too. Like, I actually agree with Grail, for the most part, of, like, what she does, so, like, her base thing is, like, anything that's mutual is okay. That's, like, what Grail thinks. If it's mutual, it's alright. That's literally how her mind works. So, for instance, like, to Grail, it's, like even if, let's use, like, today's standards more so, because that will make it easier for you to understand. Because in here, like, the place she's from, like, it doesn't really have much law. There's not really people, like, maintaining law, so it doesn't really matter there. But anyways, like, let's say Grail is, like, a person today. Like, the way her mind works is, like, she views it as, like, well, if you had a knife and I have a knife and we both mutually agree to fight and you died, then there's nothing wrong with that. Like, that's, like, her mindset. It's like, we mutually agreed to it, so it's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. We both agreed. Like, we're both down for it. That's, like, her mindset. So, for instance, like, right here, this made her really mad. And there's, like, that line of, like running up on somebody and, like, stabbing them in the back. Like, that's not how she did it. She wanted to look you in your eyes as she did you proper. Like, that shit. It's, like, that's her vibe. It's, like, I want you to know it's me. Like, I'm doing this. We're agreeing to this. You're on the streets with a knife. I'm on the streets with a knife. Like, this is how it's gonna go. Somebody's gonna get fucked up. We both agreed to this. There's nothing wrong with it. Like, that's literally how she views it. Like, genuinely, she doesn't believe there's anything wrong with it. It's like, you want to do the same shit I want to do. I couldn't do it without you. That's, like, kind of a way, like, literally, that's kind of what's going on in her mind, is like, well, I couldn't do it without you. Like, we're doing it it's mutual. She's not running up on people. She's not fighting people. Like, even with the guy that pissed her off, like, they're like, oh, you guys need to solve it. And she's like, what do you want to do? Do you want to get hench over this? Which is basically, like, fighting, right? Like, do you want to get hench? Like, she's asking him, what do you want to do? Because she's not going to, like, swing on him. She doesn't want to, like, fight if they're not going to fight. It's not fun. It's not, like, good. It's not, there's no point in it. It's kind of like, it's not mutual. Like, that's the point. It's not mutual. She's, like, all about, like, mutual, like, whatever. Whatever she's doing to you, she wants you to be basically doing it to her, essentially. That's kind of the vibe. And she genuinely doesn't believe there's anything wrong with it, which I kind of, in some ways, second that. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think if, like, right now, like, if me and somebody else agreed to fight, like, we actually agreed and we fought, then there's nothing wrong with that. I do agree with that. Shouldn't be anything wrong with that. But that's just me. I mean, that's where that came from. I just, like, that's how my mind works. And my mind is also, like, very much so, like, an eye for an eye kind of shit, which is a little bit how Grail is as well. So it goes pretty far. Yeah. That's kind of, like, I mean, that is kind of what I based her character around so much. Also, the hardest part to write in that whole thing, I don't know, like, how well it came across. Like, I was telling you guys about how Grail, like, it's not that she's, like, she doesn't, like, she wasn't taught anything, right? And she definitely wasn't around enough people to, like, have a social life, you know? So she doesn't know, like, social norms. So there's, like, this part where she, like, gets kicked out. And, you know, like, how the guy was like, oh, I'm not gliding with a girl. Like, I'm not going on a glide with a girl. Like, why are we allowing this girl in our gang? Basically kind of shit, right? He's saying that shit. Grail, like, literally doesn't understand. Like, she actually does not understand. Like, she doesn't get that. She, like, does not get that. She doesn't understand what he means. Like, he's just like, she's just like, what do you mean? Like, what's the difference? What's the problem? And I tried to write that as well as I could, but, like, she, like, genuinely, like, she doesn't have enough of a social life to where she even thinks about it. Like, she's probably, like, she has probably never even thought, like, guys are different, like, girls are different. Girls tend to do this, guys tend to do this kind of shit. She doesn't ever think about that. It's literally just, like, she doesn't care. I don't know. There's no care. And then also you gotta, like, factor in the fact that, like, Grail is, like, she's got more in common with guys, right? Especially if we're talking about, like, stature. She's definitely, like, a lot taller and stronger than the average girl, right? Like, she's definitely never met a girl anywhere around, like, her strength or her height or anything like that. Yeah, she completely lacks social norms, like, doesn't understand them at all. But she, like, fits in with these guys a lot more. And, like, it's funny to see her, like, trying to work this out, where she's, like, drunk and she's thinking, like, she's like, huh, I'm quite a bit like them, but it seems like the more I'm like them, the less they like me. But then they talk about these girls and they love them and they invite them over, but then I'm shunned. Like, she's, like, trying to do this, like, whole mental, like, but I don't understand. And she's drinking and she's like, well, fuck it, I'm drinking. I'm definitely not gonna understand what I'm drinking. I already don't understand, and I'm definitely not gonna understand when I'm drunk. Which I think that's kind of funny. It just, like, goes to show, like, she's trying to work it out and she's just like, I don't understand. Like, they flirt with these girls, but then me, it's like, oh, I don't want to be in a, like, he's like, wouldn't you want to be in a gang with a girl? You always talk about them. Why don't you want one in your gang? I don't understand. But obviously the guy's just kind of like, yeah, I don't want a girl, like, doing this shit with us, the violent shit or whatever. Or maybe he's like, yeah, she's not about this life or whatever he's feeling, like, his whole thing. I mean, he's just a dumbass, but I mean, it's good. It's still good. It's good for it. She's the cool dude with long hair? Also, bro. I wish I was the cool... I have long hair, but I don't know if I'm the cool dude with long hair. My long hair doesn't even look good, actually. I don't really like it, but I still have it because it's, like, a part of me. I don't know if I can get rid of it. I don't really wear my hair, like, down anymore, though. I wear it, like, up in a hat. Grail's social norms are that her hands are rated E for everyone. Yeah, they are. She doesn't really like that, though. She doesn't like the hand to hand. She wants the blade combat, bro. That's what she wants. I'm the coolest dude with long hair. But that's good. I mean, that's pretty good gas because I feel like a lot of guys that have long hair are pretty cool. Now, Grail has some crazy lines, bro. She has one line. I can't remember what it's from. I'm trying to remember the context. It's actually insane. It's actually scary. Like, it's actually scary, bro. You know how hard it is to write scary lines, too? Well, I find it scary because I actually just think about, like, the reality of that, if it was real. Which, I mean, it's real, I guess, in the sense that, like, people feel that way. Like, that's a thing that happens. But, I don't remember how she said it. She's, like, talking about someone that she hurt. I think she said, like, I think I wrote her this line where she was, like, she's like talking about somebody, or they're talking about someone. I think they mentioned somebody, like, in a rival gang, and she's like, oh yeah, I remember him. Like, my blade injected weakness in him. I heard he dreams. I heard he
I heard he dreams of me at night and gets chefed in bed. She says something like that, which is fucking crazy. That's like PTSD shit. Like, she's literally like, yeah, I injected weakness in him. Now he dreams about me every night and gets chefed in bed. Like, he thinks I'm fucking him up in bed again. Like, that's how much I fucked him up. That shit's crazy. That line is like, that's one of the best lines I wrote for like her like scary shit, for her like it's casual for her too. Like, she's just saying it. It's like, yeah, I injected weakness in him. That shit's crazy. Shit's crazy. That's like one of the best lines I wrote for this shit. I love that line. There's some really good ones though. Like, you guys haven't even heard the Bones lines, dude. She talks about bones a lot. That's like her thing. She always talks about like fucking like the feeling of the blade hitting bones. Like, that shit's crazy. I don't know if I want to braid my hair, bro. Although one of you needs to teach me how to do a bun. Layla, can you teach me how to do a bun? I want to know how to do like a bun. I just don't know how to do them. Like a messy bun? I could. I don't know, like any type of bun, I guess. Which one would look good? Bun would be great. Hairstylist here. Oh shit. Yeah, like I don't know. I mean, I like Grail's bun, but I don't think I could rock the Grail bun. Also, wait. Side note. So if we look at this picture of Grail real quick, hang on, let me pull it up again. Let's pull up the big picture. The big picture of Grail, hang on. Let me do that again, because that's better, I think. Let me see. Okay, big picture of Grail, boom, like that. Now let me pull this back up so I can see you guys. Alright, wait, no, it's not. Hang on. Is it working? Yeah, it's working. Okay. How long do you think this hair is? Because I know it sounds stupid, I made the character, but you know what's crazy is I never actually thought about her with her hair down, ever. I designed her to have her hair up like this, right? So just taking this into account, she does like multiple like big buns, or she does one big bun, right? One. Usually she just does one. We do this one a bit different. It's kind of like 3 almost or something. I don't know, I'm bad with hair. But anyways, her hair is meant to be a big bun, right? You're saying lower back, middle of the back? It's like here. It's really long. Because what's crazy is I've never really wrote her with her hair down. The only time I ever wrote her with her hair down is like, there's like one scene, I think. Like hip area. I need to see with some Viking hair. Viking hair could go cool. Like hip area, okay. You know what? Like, I just feel like Grail wouldn't like look like Grail if she had her hair down. You know what I mean? Like, I've literally looked at her so long like this. I've never looked at her with her hair down. I just feel like she wouldn't look like her. She'd look really weird. Like, she would look so weird with her hair down, bro. I don't know. It would just look strange. This is that lip scar, dude. Well, I mean, it's bigger than this. This was like a long time ago when this artist made this. We made it a lot more gnarly, but she has like glass shards stuck in her lip, bro. You know how baller that is? And also how fucking tough that is? Like, anytime she smiles, like, her lip, like, starts to fuck up. And she's like, nah, I can't do that. Which is so sad and fucking savage at the same time. Honestly, I'm a savage for that. Like, it's the character that hates life the most. Always angry. Never happy. And the one time she's happy, it cuts up her lip and sucks. And she's like, alright, never mind. Can't be happy, never mind. I don't think that's safe. Yeah, it's definitely not safe, but you can't do anything about it. I forgot, like, whenever I read that line, I was like, well, fuck, you guys aren't gonna understand what that means.
I had to describe that shit. There was a couple lines in there that were probably like pretty awkward to understand if you like because of the context. But hip area, all right. I just don't know, like, she'd look so weird. You know what's cool though? Is my friend, one of my friends, is actually drawing some stuff for the book or for the short story. And one of the first pictures we're doing is Grail as a kid. So this Grail that we're looking at right here, she's meant to be like 20 or 21. It's like 20 or 21-year-old Grail. And then Nellie's like meant to be like 22, 23. Nellie's like a year older than her. Feel like Grail would have twigs in her hair. Maybe from sleeping in the forest, yeah, maybe. What was I gonna say? I don't remember what I was gonna say. Oh, we were doing a drawing of Grail as a younger kid, and we left her hair down, and it looked really cool actually. But I don't think it would look really weird now. Her bun kind of looks like yours right now. That's how you estimated length. I mean, that's pretty accurate then. Yeah, I based Grail's hairstyle. So this is not the original hairstyle. This one's this is a bit off. This isn't exactly what I'm picturing out of Grail, but I don't mind this. This isn't that bad. This isn't bad at all. But I do picture like a one kind of big bun sort of thing. And not so much like this looks like it's a bit on top. Basically, the way I made Grail's hair is think of like a Japanese geisha, but then think that it's like messy and not nice. That's what Grail's hair looks like to me. It's like a Japanese geisha's hair, but not perfect and nice, but like messy. Like she put it up because she's gonna fight, not like she put it up to look nice. You know what I mean? Like she put it up to get it out of her way. Like a messy geisha bun. That's what it's supposed to look like. This one looks a lot different. This one looks like a bunch of shit's going on. I don't mind it. Like I said, I don't mind it, but it's not like the original Grail look. You know what? I got another picture of Grail I could show you guys. Maybe. Actually, I don't know if I can. Let me see. I don't think I can. Well, can I? Let's try. Oh, no. How do I get this picture up? Because apparently I don't have it on Discord. I feel like you guys would like this picture of her, so I feel like I might as well share it real quick. I feel like you guys would like this picture. It doesn't have the right colors though. Cause I can't find the right color one. Let me see. Let's open up all these. Let me see if any of these look right. Nope. Maybe that one's alright. Yeah, sure, I'll use this one. It's fine. It'll do. Oh, it's basically the same shit. Basically the same shit. Hang on. When was it? This one? Oh. This one? Yep. I got this picture of Grail as well. Grail and the Zweihander. This is like an older picture. Can Grail slide cancel? I bet she could, honestly. This is an older picture of Grail. It's a little, I mean, it's accurate and not accurate, but yeah. Definitely, I think the face is a bit more accurate. It's a bit more realistic, slightly more realistic here. It's not super realistic, but it is slightly more realistic. But the colors are a bit off. I feel like the colors are a bit off all around in this drawing. See, I think that's the only thing I don't really like about this drawing, or the main thing, is like the colors seem to be a bit off. Like this, the color for the eyes is too strong, but it is supposed to be like a yellowish color. But I do like this. I like the scar they went for. I like the scar because she has like a scar that like cuts into her hairline a little bit. I like that. And then she has like this lip scar, but this is supposed to be like this. It does come out the top a little bit, probably not that much. It comes out the top like this much, and then it like curves down in here into the middle of the lip. So there should be shit here. Yeah, she looks pretty mean, but I like these little scars we gave her too. The scars on like the arms, that looks cool because she should have those. So I like those. She'd probably have a few more to be honest, but I do like those. They look good. And then the sword just looks fucking cool. The sword looks really cool here. Damn, I love this sword, man. It's just cool. And I love the way they shaded it to look like shiny like this. It looks insane. Love the menacing look she has. Yeah, me too. That's what I love about this. Like, I feel like I haven't given like the Nelly one enough love here. I love this like Nelly piece so much. I love this like we added the roses as well, and the roses in the pocket. I don't know if you saw that, but I like that. I like that. The roses in the pocket's great. Necklace. It's like I said, it's a bit choppy, but that's only because I had to like make it bigger, or I had to like make it smaller to fit in the Grail, like to fit with Grail. But I love this. Like, I love how happy she is, and like you could tell, like you could just tell their personalities by how they stand. I love that shit. I love that shit. Like Nelly's just like it's just in their stance. I don't know. We did a good job at like posing them right and everything. The amethyst necklace. Yeah, it looks like really choppy from this because like I said from what I did, but the actual version is really clean and looks nice. But yeah, I like the amethyst necklace. I also just love this like top that she wears. I don't know why. This is like what I always draw her in. I feel like teal looks good on her. Teal looks really good on her. Although, that being said, I actually have something else being drawn of Nelly. And it's the first time ever. I know it sounds kind of crazy, but every time I draw Nelly or had Nelly drawn, I drew her in this outfit right here. I don't know why, but it just makes me think of her. So I liked it. But anyways, for the first time ever, I'm having her drawn in something else. And I gotta say, it looks real good. It's nothing crazy. It just looks really good. It's actually like really simple, but it's like a light pink color though. Like a light pink. I think light colors look really good on her. It's like a light pink color, and it's like a, well, you can't really tell because you don't see like her bottom. You only see like this half and up because she's sitting at a desk basically. But I'm having like a piece drawn of her where she's sitting at a desk and we're seeing her through the mirror, like we're seeing her reflection. And she's like getting ready for bed afterwards, so it's like she's wearing like a onesie. That's what it is basically. It's like a pink one. It looks good though. I feel like she'd look nice in a ball gown. I don't really know what that is. I know I've heard the term, but I gotta look it up to know exactly what you're talking about. Let me look it up. Oh, okay. Well, these look all different. I mean, just like the big puffy dress. That one. Is that the right one? I'm seeing lots of puffy dresses. I feel like I've always like had this idea of like I really want to have her drawn in like pajamas that are like hearts, like little hearts. That'd be good. Something like that. She'd like that. Yeah, like a light colored dress. Yeah, she'd probably like that. That or like what was the other thing I wanted her drawn in? Trying to remember. Can't remember. There was something else. I don't remember though. I just really like this shirt. I don't know. I like how it's like flowy at the bottom. I feel like that is cool. It's like a little flowery or flowy. I don't know. I'm not a puffy dress person. Yeah, I kind of don't know if I like the look of them too much, to be honest. Damn, if only. Let me see if I have the. Do I have the picture of the other girl character, dude? Because we drew her in a dress, and goddamn, looks really cool. She like rocks that dress. Like actually, fucking looks like the dress was just like made for her, which I guess it was because I made the art, or well, I like designed the art. I designed the dress, and well, I didn't design it. I mean, I found the dress, and I know the character, so obviously I know what would probably look good on her, kind of shit. But the other girl that we drew does wear a dress. Well, to be fair, she only wears a dress like one time in the book. But I decided, yeah, I want her drawn in that because it's a cool moment of the book. So draw her in the dress, even though she barely ever wears it. I'll try to find it real quick. Let me try to see. I'm not gonna show the guy though because that's coming. That's all. I can show her, I guess. Wait, where is she? Where are you, friend? You're here somewhere. Oh yeah. Let me find it. She has like attitude with this. God damn it, I did all that work and then I gotta go back. Hang on. Here. There. Where is it? Which one do we want? This one? Is this the right one? Is that the right one? Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, that's pretty cool. She looks really tall in this. It's because I don't have her next to anything. Alright, here. Have this drawn. I mean, she's not like that. She's not as tall as Grail, it just looks that way. She's like to here. She's pretty tall though. Somewhere around there. This is like another one of the main characters. Then there's four main characters. There's these three, and then there's a guy that I'm not gonna show. I have art of him technically, but I'm not gonna show it yet. This dress is actually cool as fuck. It looks really good. Oh wait, I don't have my chat open. She looks really good here. I like the slicked back hair. I like this. It looks good. It looks really good. Oh, you have a dress like this, but it's like, what, it doesn't have like one side, it just has one side. Yeah, this is pretty cool. I like this art. You'd be straight for pimpin'? Yeah. She's like, I mean, she thinks she's like, oh, she thinks, I mean, you can just tell. She's like, yeah, I'm the shit. But to be fair, she is the shit. To be fair, she is the shit. But you guys don't know why. You guys don't know why she's the shit. And it's definitely... I'll put it this way. What she does is completely not look like this. This is from one scene in the book. Like, her wearing this is from one scene in the book. But she's like... She doesn't ever dress up. This is like her one time to dress up and feel good. So she felt fucking good. That's all. Simple as that. She dressed up, she felt good. Man, I want to put out my writing. I just, got to get these fucking watch hours, and then I'm gonna start putting out those parts. It's gonna be good. Pretty excited for that. Gotta own it. Yeah, true. It's actually a really sad scene that she wears the dress. It's actually really sad. It shouldn't be, but it's actually really sad. Does Grail have Tim's on? I don't know. She just has like heavy black boots. That's how I described them. I said heavy, give her heavy black boots. And they gave me heavy black boots. They kind of look like that though, a little bit. The pre-release special. I don't know when this shit's gonna be done. I mean, the short stories aren't gonna take too long, but the book is like not done. Not done. Because the other problem is like I don't work on it that much, you know, which really sucks. But it's just like I only work on it when I feel it, and then on top of it, not only when I only feel it, but also I have to have the time, which I don't have. I don't have the time to work on. I don't have the time. I don't have much time. I just don't have much time. I'm already working like the least amount of hours possible for me to like survive off of, which is not great. Like I barely have enough money to pay for the shit that I gotta pay for, and I still don't have enough time. So I probably need to get more hours at work, realistically, which I don't think I'm gonna do, but I probably should. That's definitely the smart thing to do. Or hopefully the YouTube thing picks up and I could just make a little bit of money off this and I'll be fine. That'd be cool. That'd be cool. I kind of wish I had another picture of her in like her normal outfit, because that'd be so sick. But I feel like if I can only have one, this one looks really good. Just because it is from an important part in the book, but it would be cool to see her in like her other outfit. Especially because like the slicked back hair, I love the eyes. Like, the way they drew her eyes is actually crazy. The slicked back hair is cool. Also, she has this hairband. This is like really important. Like I said, adulting 0 out of 10. Yeah. You've eaten today, right? I mean, I ate a little bit. I don't really have that much food, bro. I gotta get out of here, bro. Shit, stream's not gonna happen tomorrow if I don't go to sleep. Layla, why don't you just type in chat? Why do you message me? Why are you weird? Now I gotta sit here in silence to message you back, you know? Alright, I think I'm gonna go. And I'm gonna message her back. I'm gonna go. Alright, I'm gonna go. But, I appreciate you guys listening to my writing and all that stuff. It was fun sharing it. I'll be streaming tomorrow. I don't know at what time, because I'm not gonna set an alarm. I don't sleep that long usually, but I'm not gonna set an alarm. I'll probably go get some food when I wake up, because I don't have any here. I'm probably gonna do that. And yeah, then I'll be streaming. So anyways, thanks guys. You guys are awesome. Appreciate you guys hanging out. And I'll see most of you, if not all of you, tomorrow. So you guys have a good morning, I guess, now, at this point. Alright, later guys.